Breaking news coming out of the federal prison system right now. Folks, it was just yesterday being reported R. Kelly poisoned and overdosing, blaming prison staff and officials in some sort of a conspiracy to potentially unalive Kells in prison. Even though this story is just coming out yesterday, this incident is being reported to have occurred last week with a headline that reads, R. Kelly hospitalized last week after drugging by prison staff. There's a multitude of different headlines in relation to this incident. I've even seen things saying that Diddy somehow is responsible for this. Can't confirm nor deny any of these other bait-like headlines, but we're going to go with this one here today, try to dissect what exactly just happened to R. Kelly last week in a federal prison down in North Carolina known as Butner Correctional Facility. Interesting to note about this particular prison where R. Kelly is being housed at. This is a massive federal prison complex, housing multiple different custody levels from low, medium, and administrative security, with a population of over 5,000 prisoners spread out over 4 different facilities at this particular complex. Another interesting component to this particular federal prison complex is that it is home to the largest medical center in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So in terms of federal prisons, Butner has the largest medical facility of any prison. Also notable to mention about this particular cluster of prisons is that Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was actually housed and died at Butner back in 2023. Bernie Madoff was also housed and died at Butner as well back in 2021. But folks, today we're here to talk about Robert Sylvester Kelly, otherwise known as R. Kelly, who just recently last week had a medical episode and overdosed, allegedly, at this particular prison complex. R. Kelly was recently taken to the hospital after allegedly being given too much medication by prison staff while in solitary confinement, according to the filing from the disgraced R&B singer's legal team. Diabolical to think that something like this could have happened, considering again that this prison has the largest medical facility of any federal prison. But I guess that doesn't really matter. Things like this could happen, right? Was R. Kelly, in fact, given some sort of a lethal dose of whatever medication that he was on while back in solitary confinement? What is R. Kelly doing back in solitary confinement in the first place? I figured Buddy would have been A-OK out in Gen Pop, having him a little prison hustle, singing songs over the phone to your loved ones. That could potentially be a very unique Valentine's Day gift, something to the likes that Jody could never out there in the real world, who potentially has your girl while you're locked up. Yeah, I didn't know R. Kelly was back in the hole. When I first hear about this story, this is where my mind goes immediately. So let me give you my prisoner expertise opinion. Thorazine, Seroquel, some sort of a tranquilizer that is prescribed in prison, potentially the closest medication narcotics-wise that you can be given while serving time. If you know of something else, please comment down below. Narcotic-wise, that could be used or potentially lead to some sort of an overdose situation. The reason that I know this personally is because when I was serving time, 7 years for nonviolent drug and weapons offenses, I was able to steal, essentially, 13 or 14 100 milligram Seroquel pills from a prisoner. I was supposed to transport these for a prisoner. I was supposed to mule them. I told him that I did so when in fact I never did, and I just hoped that he never found out. Luckily for me, I ended up getting in trouble, going to the hole within about a week or 10 days after I had told the prisoner that I successfully completed the handoff. And I figured he would have never been any wiser unless this prisoner would have come to the window of the housing unit and cell block where we were at, and my cellmate said to him, "Hey, did you get that?" And Buddy would have said no, then yeah, that could have led to a laundry list of problems for me. But at that time, I really didn't care. I was kamikazing my way through jail at that point, not knowing how much time I was looking at and knowing that I was looking at a lot. So I didn't have nothing to lose. I wanted these pills for myself. This was my emergency get out of jail free plan, so to speak, if you can read between the lines. I stole these for no other reason than to potentially attempt to unalive myself. I've told this story before here on this channel, and many people have said, Joe, that would have not been enough to take you to task. But in my mind at the time, it would have been. So when I hear something like this about R. Kelly, I think potentially the same. R. Kelly claims, and his legal team does as well, that he was given a lethal dose of whatever medication that he was on. But is it plausible, and it has to be, that R. Kelly was just hoarding this medication and waiting for an opportune time to attempt to utilize a get-out-of-jail-free card himself? When medication is handed out during pill call and they come to your cell, they watch you put that little cup in your mouth with the pill in it, swallow it, and then you have to open your mouth and show them that you don't have that pill in there. But sometimes you can get away with quickly getting that pill out, making it look like you're taking that medication. And other times you can just shoot the pill, turn your back, spit the pill out. I believe, without knowing anything further, and this is just my hypothesis thus far, it was probably something like this that led to the situation R. Kelly found himself in. The 58-year-old born Robert Kelly is currently serving 2 federal sentences, one for sex trafficking and racketeering, and another for child bad charges at Butner Correctional Facility in North Carolina. His current release date is listed as December 21st, 2045. R. Kelly is 58 years old right now. Man, it is only 2025. 2035, that's a decade. 2045, that's 20 years from now. R. Kelly will be damn near 80, 78 years old by the time he stands a chance at freedom. Is he going to live to see that release date? Court documents obtained say that Kelly's legal team is again seeking an emergency release from prison. We're pulling out all the stops to get this guy home, claiming that the Federal Bureau of Prisons is taking active steps to kill him, in an accusation the government calls fanciful. The filing from Kelly's team alleges that he was placed in solitary confinement on June the 10th, hours after submitting a different emergency release request, filing that separately alleged the Bureau of Prison officials had plotted to have another inmate kill Kelly. Well, that explains what he's doing back in solitary confinement. It's not for a disciplinary infraction, it's for protective custody. And maybe I'm wrong about all of this. If you feel differently, please comment down below and let me know. Do you feel like the Bureau of Prisons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the highest level of judicial system in the United States, or at least one of the highest, do you feel like they're trying to kill this guy? And if so, why? Could R. Kelly potentially have diabolical information, potentially in reference to lists that we've been hearing about and waiting to see released fully? You saw what happened to that guy. So I'm not going to put anything past the realm of possible. But in this particular case, I personally feel this is a bit of a last-ditch effort. It goes on to state that Kelly took his regular dose of medication on June 12th, 2 days after he was put in solitary confinement, but they claim was later instructed by prison staff to take additional medication. The filing claims that Kelly awoke on July 13th. That's definitely a typo right there. I'm quite certain they mean June 13th. Feeling faint and dizzy, seeing black spots in his vision before falling to the ground and losing consciousness. Kelly was taken by ambulance to Duke University Hospital. Again, this prison complex where R. Kelly is at, Butner Correctional Facility, has the largest prison medical in the entire country. But this was different. So serious, in fact, that this guy had to be transported to Duke University Hospital, where the filing says he learned that he had been administered an overdose quantity of his medication that threatened his life. Kelly was hospitalized for 2 days. You know, here's the crazy thing. I think that Buddy just hoarded the medication and then popped them all at once, and this is the latest ploy. But we can't rule out that this was some kind of a medical mishap. And you know what's wild about this is nobody's going to believe him because of that old saying, you know, when you cry wolf too many times. What if this really did happen? What if at a prison complex where they have the largest medical facility of any prison in the United States, a medical mishap to this degree of negligence actually really took place? I don't believe it was a ploy by the prison to unalive this guy, but I could see plausible that somebody miscalculated a dosage. Maybe it wasn't recorded that, hey, I already took my medication. Well, it's not noted. It's not on file. Take it again. Kelly, take it again. Something like that I could definitely see happening. And the sad thing is again, if it really did, nobody will ever believe this guy. The filing then claims that prison officials forced the singer to leave the hospital and return to the prison against his will and against the directive of the doctors. I can also see that happen. Hey, you know, we probably should hold this guy for a little bit longer for observation. No, we got him. We're taking him back now. Before completing additional medical treatment for ongoing blood clot issues. In a response, federal prosecutors accused Kelly of asking for release under the guise of a fanciful conspiracy. They added that the deeply unserious and theatrical motion, which they say was improperly filed, they're looking for any loophole to make this go away, makes a mockery of the harm suffered by Kelly's victims. The court should not allow Kelly to turn its docket into a grocery store checkout aisle tabloid. The government's response said they absolutely bodied him with that statement right there. When asked for a comment, a spokesperson for the Federal Bureau of Prisons said, due to privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not discuss the conditions of confinement for any incarcerated individual, including medical and health-related issues. They added that the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons, does not comment on pending litigation or matters subject to legal proceedings. Kelly's attorney said they're still hoping to pursue some form of intervention from President Donald Trump. Everybody's looking for a pardon since Todd and Julie Chrisley got one, and NBA Youngboy and the likes of a few others did as well. Didn't Trump pardon the OG founder of the Gangster Disciples, Larry Hoover? You know, not only are the New Orleans escapees pleading for President Donald Trump for a pardon.
Donald Trump, I'm asking for these people. I couldn't even get a lawyer.
Looks like R. Kelly's shooting his shot as well, too. They believe he could be sympathetic to his client due to the president's own public legal battles. How are you going to ask for a pardon in one hand and throw the president under the bus in the other? He should pardon R. Kelly. I mean, shit, Elon just said he's on the freaking Epstein files. Whether a pardon or commutation, we're looking for freedom for R. Kelly. It's my continued work to seek the intervention of the President of the United States on Robert's behalf. I believe President Trump is the one person who has the power and the will to stand up to the people like this. In 2023, R. Kelly was sentenced to 20 years in prison in a Chicago federal courtroom following his conviction last year on charges of child bad charges. Most of his sentences are being served concurrently, which means that if he received 20 years here and 10 years there and 15 years here, we're just going to run it all together. The longest sentence he has is the most amount of time he's going to serve. So if he had a 20-year sentence and a 15-year sentence, he's serving 20 years, and that's going to encompass everything. But if they had said consecutively, it's 20 and then 15 and then 5 and so on and so forth, however much time you get sentenced to in total. Folks, I just wanted to bring you this diabolical story coming out about Kells. What do you make of all of this? Do you feel like there is some sort of a conspiracy by the government to silence this man in prison? Again, keep in mind the prison facility where he's located at has seen some very notorious high-profile cases that have come before him. And unfortunately, all of them have died at that prison. Does the same fate await R. Kelly? Only time will tell. Folks, I hope you found some interest in what I've shared with you here today. And if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you think. If you find yourself new here on After Prison Show, enjoying this content but not yet subscribed, please consider doing so that you never miss an upload from us. It would greatly be appreciated and would go a long ways to helping to support this channel. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world, never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.